All right, welcome back, everyone. Hope you had an engaging time learning about our community here at Mud. But now that we've shared about how great Mud is, I'm going to pass it off to Tira Briggs to talk about admission and financial aid. So, what does it take to get in here and afford Harvey Mudd College?
Great. Thank you, Kevin. You can go ahead and move on to the next slide. Perfect. So we hope that everything we've been telling you about MUD today is going to be reflected in what we look at in the admission process, what we value, and who we think is going to be really successful at Harvey Mudd. So I do just want to give you a little bit more information about what we're looking for, how to apply to Harvey Mudd, and then certainly how to afford what is a very expensive education. So looking at this first slide here, specifically about admission, I want to really highlight the things that are different about Harvey Mudd than perhaps other colleges. But again, reflection of our mission. What doesn't make us different is that we do require 2 teacher recommendations. But what reflects our mission is one of the teacher recommendations has to come from a math or science teacher, and the other one has to come from a humanities, social sciences, or arts teacher. So right back to the mission statement and that idea of that balance. The only way you can apply to Harvey Mudd is through the Common Application. And then we do have what's called the Harvey Mudd member page, where we will ask you one additional essay question, and then a short answer question really about the importance of humanities, social sciences, and arts for Harvey Mudd. We do require, you've probably already heard, this year of calculus, chemistry, and physics, but you don't have to have, you have to have taken those before you enroll, but you will see that that plays into our core curriculum. And we do want to highlight that we are SAT and or ACT optional for this next class, meaning for the students who are rising seniors right now. We will hopefully be making a decision in the next few months or so about whether that's going to be a permanent policy or not. That I can't give you any heads up on that one because I don't know myself. Key things to know, we do have 2 rounds of early decision. One, you apply by November 15th and find out by December 15th, and the other January 5th and find out by February 15th. There's no difference between those 2 rounds of what we call ED1 and ED2, just a matter of when students make that decision. But it is a binding admission round. So that means that if you're accepted into Harvey Mudd through either of the early decision rounds, that you'll withdraw your applications to other schools and join us at Mudd. Go ahead and switch to the next one, Kevin. So to put a sort of a finer point on what we're looking for in the admission process, we want to be as transparent as we can be in terms of what we value. So you see under the heading, your application there, essentially that is everything that you send to us, meaning, or your school does, meaning your application itself, we get things like transcripts and recommendations and all of those different pieces. But what you see under your values and your potential, to be very honest with you, those are pretty much every category on which we are going to be evaluating you as an applicant. And I really want to highlight, for example, that what you see over there in your values and your potential is not high grades. It's not high test scores. Those are community values that we think are going to make you a strong and contributing member at Harvey Mudd. So you see the things like intellectual curiosity, creating opportunities for others. If you've picked up anything from everything you've heard from everyone today, it's this idea that it is everybody's job to bring everyone through the Harvey Mudd community, through our education, through our curriculum. So we want students who are equally interested in how to support their peers as how to sort of move ahead and through our process. So just looking at those things, those values and your potential, you can get a very clear sense of what we value. Next slide, Kevin. Okay, so let's put it right on the table here. We know that Harvey Mudd is an incredibly expensive place, but I want to give you a little bit of a context for our cost, but also about all of the policies and approaches we have to make this expensive education more accessible to everybody. We do have a high cost. I mean, part of it certainly is being a private college. Part of it, to be honest, is being a STEM college. When you are an institution that predominantly has courses in STEM, you have things like very high startup costs for for faculty members because they deserve to have all of the resources available to them to teach and support and do research for their own work as well. We also, for example, have faculty members in computer science and in engineering for whom we need to compete with not only other colleges and universities to bring them in, but also with other industries. So different sort of specific costs to Harvey Mudd, which give a little bit more background about why we cost as much as we do. That said, we are very, very committed to making sure that this education is available and accessible to students. Two of the most important policies we have, one is that we are need blind in the admission process for all of our domestic students and our permanent residents. And that means that we make all of our admission decisions without any knowledge of a family's financial circumstances. And the other is that we guarantee that we will meet 100% of your demonstrated need. And there are only a handful of colleges in this country that do both of those things. You know, for example, it would be very easy to say we're need blind, but then not meet your full need. But we feel very strongly that we need to do both. The other thing is we offer both need-based and merit-based aid. Most of what we offer is need-based, but we do have a handful of merit-based scholarships as well, the vast majority of which are open to all students. We automatically assume you want merit aid, so we'll consider all students. But you'll see the three scholarships there, the President Scholars Program and our 2 robotics scholarships that are specific and need an application process, and those happen after the application deadline. So you have a little bit more time to submit those. I also want to point out that thing in the bottom right-hand corner there. We do package students with loans, usually the bare minimum of loans that the federal government allows us to package students with. But we have a 0% federal loan default rate. And that essentially means that given the earning potential that we shared with you about for our students, they do not struggle to pay back the small amount of loans with which they are packaged. So I think I will stop there. I think my staff over there is answering some questions that I've seen popping up in chat, but I want to stick to our time. So thank you for your attention. I'm going to turn it back to Kevin.